So this module's been about using technology, and for all the research and developments over the last few years, in my context, China is still very low tech in terms of teaching. So what I wanted to do this week was talk to three teachers who teach in a similar context to me to see how they use technology in their classrooms and in their lessons. So I spoke to a kindergarten home teacher, a grade 4 English teacher, and I spoke to a teacher at one of our camps. And the reason I did that is because our camps are, they're very low tech, but often they're like no tech. So I just wanted to see how she used technology in her camp lessons. So the first 2 or 3 questions were pretty straightforward. What's available to you? The camp teacher said there's a projector if needed, but not always used, not often used. The English teacher has a projector in his classroom and uses his own laptop to plan. The kindergarten teacher said he mainly works offline. His technology is basically a CD player. So I said, what do you use regularly? Basically, the answer was they use the resources they have. So if they have a projector, they will show PPTs, show videos, play music. If they have a CD player, they will play songs on the CD player. In terms of what's available to students, it's actually less than that. So in the English classroom, the students just have the computer in their classroom. There's no Wi-Fi. Well, there's some Wi-Fi in some classrooms, but not in all of them. Kindergarten, the students just don't have any technology, and the same in the nature camp. Um, it's a conscious decision by our company to take iPads, take phones from students. We want it to be a completely, well, as much as possible, an offline camp. So, in terms of how this is used on in a typical day, it's basically used as is. So, the English teacher has a projector in his classroom. He uses that projector to teach. Students don't have anything. They also use the projector. So, we're going to look at that lesson plan and how he uses that. He uses his projector to run an English class. For the kindergarten teacher, teachers use a whiteboard. Sometimes they play songs, sometimes they watch videos, but that's when the teacher takes in his own laptop to show videos. He said, we don't have a lot of technology and we don't miss it. And the camp teacher, some PPTs are made to explain difficult concepts or to show visuals of things that will help the English language learners. And the technology was used as and when. So if it's a nature camp, the technology might be microscopes or it might be a photo plant recognition app. There's one camp where we actually use digital printers to print on bags and T-shirts and things like that. So it's very much as and when technology is needed. And the final question, what do you not have that you feel would improve teaching and learning? This was the most difficult question to answer for the teachers. This is the one that they had to think about more. The English teacher said the internet would be useful. He said students having their own iPads, it might be distracting. So they don't have a lot of tech, but it works for what it is. The kindergarten teacher said maybe a TV in the classroom to show videos without taking his own computer, and he said he doesn't think students at this age necessarily need any more than that. And the camp teacher said just having regular access to technology. So at the moment, it's like she can plan a lesson hoping that this technology will be available, but sometimes it isn't. She always needs a backup plan. So what she would like is just consistent access to this technology, but still very much as and when needed. So what to make of that? Teachers basically, they use what they have. They make the most of the technology they have available, and what they don't have, basically, they don't miss. So I think in terms of going forward, what we don't need is a tech dump. Maybe more technology would help their classes if that went along with training teachers on how to use it effectively. But basically, what I found from these very short interviews is that teachers adapt to what they have and they make the most of what they have. So for the final part, I wanted to talk to the teacher whose context is like most closely similar to mine. So I spoke to the grade four English teacher, and he mentioned that his lesson plan was developed using the technology he had, which is just a projector in front of the room. And for reading classes, quite interesting. He said that on one hand, he can control the pace of the class. He can make sure that everyone understands the language, they can understand the story and the concept. He can develop activities around the book. And he mentioned that doing this, it saves a lot of print. It keeps costs down significantly, which obviously always helps the school budget. On the other hand, he did say it's not a natural way to read. It doesn't allow extensive, like, student-driven reading, and students don't really have much control over how the technology is used. So some things he did was use digital flashcards to pre-teach difficult vocabulary. He has activities on the slides where students work in pairs, creating a new language based on the story. So even when the tech is teacher led, it doesn't mean the whole class are just like watching and following. He does include in the lessons times when students can work together and can still create language, create content for themselves. So what I want to take away from this is the fact that at the heart of the classroom, it's still the teacher, and no matter what tech you have or don't have, what's more important is like how you use it. You can have a perfectly good lesson with absolutely zero technology. I've done that before. I've taught in Kenya for a few months when it's me in a shed in a blackboard. Technology, if you don't have it, I think a lot of the time you don't miss it. And when you do have it, you just like learn to make the most of what you have and do the best for your students with the technology you have.